the next thing after data coding is understanding data entry. So you finally completed coding of your questionnaire, and then the next thing is you just want to start entering your data. You already have all of the information and all of the representations of your data. For example, you know when a respondent chose between 18 to 25, it means 1. When the respondent chose to be male, it also represents 1. So each of these rows or each of these lines represent each questionnaire, each survey, or each respondent. And respondent means those that answered your questionnaire. If you are making use of a paper questionnaire, it means each of the copy of your questionnaire is one respondent. If you are making use of an online survey, you probably have, a database that houses all of your response. So you just have to do like a pre-processing before loading it into SPSS. We'll talk about how you can connect the database of your survey website to SPSS in a later video. For this case, we are making use of an hard copy questionnaire. That means we have to do the data entry all by ourselves. So it's simple. Once you look at the options, you click on the values and then you move to the next line. You can use tab to move to the next column. You can use tab to move to the next column, like that. So that's all you need to know. Just know when you're doing the data entry process, you have to be very careful and make sure that your values are actually accurate. And at some point, you can toggle between the value and the label icon to see if what you've inputted is actually corresponding to what the respondent has chosen. So I'm going to fill out some values here and then we can do some data exploration or descriptive analysis. So we have all of this filled out, and if you look at this side of the interface, you see the total number of visible variables that you have, which is 11. This equates the number of active columns in your data view. And if you scroll down, you see the total number of records that you have, which equates 512. So it means you have 512 respondents, and this is all of their responses. You could also toggle around to see all of the data. And then the next thing would be to start understanding your data. Now you see the value of the statistical tool. It will be impossible for anyone to actually get exactly what all of the respondents are saying at every point in time in all of these questionnaire or responses by going through each and every one of them. So you can get like the holistic view of what the respondents are saying without using some sort of software like SPSS to analyze your questionnaire and your survey to get the actual responses, the percentage of responses, the distribution of your respondent and all of that. So this is some of the things that we will be looking at just briefly while we go deep into it in other videos. So like I said, most of your functions, most of your activities will be on the analyze, graphs and transform section. So for this case, we are going to explore analyze section here, and then under analyze we are going to go to descriptive statistics and we'll click on frequency. So it brings out this pop-up or this view where you have all of your variables listed, and then there's a box that explains your variables. So all you need to do is just drag. You could drag and drop, you could use the button here. So just move all of the variables that you need to view. For this case, let's look at the demographic information. for the of the respondent first. Then you can make some few changes here. By going to statistics, you can select some what kind of technique or analysis you want what kind of frequency or statistics you want to show on your table or your results. So for now, let's just leave it at the default. You could also go to chart and select. For now, it is none. You could also go to format, but for now, let's leave it at default. And then here, check display frequency tables. So click on OK. And then there's another view that comes up. This view is known as what? The output view. So the output view is the other view apart from the data and the variable view that you would be interacting with on SPSS. This is where all of your results or the output of your analysis comes, and you can save it as a separate file, or you can copy and paste file out of your output view. The last view is the syntax view, which we'll talking about in later time. So here we carried out the statistics, and the first information here, it gives us like the summary of the data. It shows that all of the cells or all of the columns are filled, and we have 512 total valid records. We also have 0 missing data, which means if, for example, one or more cells are not filled in properly or they are not filled at all, you're going to see the number of missing values in your data. So that's one of the first information that you get. The next thing is you would get the actual proportion and the percentage of each of the responses that are selected by the respondent. In this case, 256 number of responses. Of course, this data is a model data, so we may not actually get the best result. But the point is, if we have a real life scenario, we are going to get like the actual number of respondents that selected each of the options. In this case, you can tell 50% of the respondents selected 18 to 25 years. Like I said, this is a model data, so some of it might not make sense. Also, if you look at it here, we have what? Total number of 384 male, which account for 75.0% of the total respondents, and we have 228 female. Also here we have this number of respondents, and these are all equal because this is a model data. We also have this total number of respondents who selected part-time employment and full-time employment, and we also have level of education. We selected graduate degree, we're about 75%, and 25% is those that selected what less than high school. So if you wish to save your output view, you can click on save here, and then you navigate to the folder where you want to save, and you can save your output view. It means you can open it anytime. So you can open it anytime to see or view your results. So once you are done here, you can leave it without closing it. Just minimize and go back to your result. So we may want to make a few tweaks. Honestly, this is just to get a more better result. So if you go to analyze, you can also, under frequency, you can select, you can clear out all of this. or better still, you can click on reset button and then now select the other part of your questionnaire, which is the section B. Mind you, you can select everything at once and you're still going to get individual tables. So one thing that we want to add is we want to add the minimum. So you just check that, and we also want to add the main value. Just check that. So you click on continue. You could also come to the chart and select, let's say, let's have a bar chart showing the distribution of responses for all of the respondents. We'll click on continue, then we click OK. So our output view pops up again, and then we have this. So if you look at this now, you see there's another section. So this is how the output view or segments all of the responses that you have, all of the outputs that you have. So for this case now, we have this is the statistics. These are individual questions that were asked. And we have total valid, which is 512. We have a mean response of 1.50 for this question. We have a maximum of 3. I have a maximum of 1. So maximum 3 being agree and minimum being strongly disagree. So those are the two ranges. None of the respondents selected strongly agree. So that's how you get your insight from the data. So you can look at this first question, being upset because of something that happened unexpectedly. How many people agreed? How many people strongly disagreed? And how many people chose disagree? So you get a proportion of each of the responses. And from here, you can begin to make valid argument about how the respondent perceive, the question, the topic, or how the respondent perceive the information that you've asked them, or the subject matter that is in question. So also, additionally, we added the bar chart, which shows the distribution of the information visually. So you can see more respondents selected strongly disagree and very little, about 0.2% selected disagree. So all of these you can begin to add to your reports, because the essence of this analysis is for you to be able to write out a report about what your respondents what's the total number of, or the information that you've gathered from your survey. So one important thing and powerful thing that you can do from SPSS is you could copy your visuals as image or any other output that you want, and you can paste it on your reports or in your presentation. So for this case, you can paste it here. You have your results. So you could copy and paste your visuals. Also, don't forget to save your output so that you can, go back to it later time. And yeah, that's how to carry out a frequency count and percentage. There are other descriptive analysis that you could carry out. For example, if you click on descriptive, you can select all of your variables and click on options and then select, maybe you want to see the minimum, the maximum, the standard deviation, and standard error mean, and then you click on continue and you click on OK. So you get all of your output in a single table, and you can draw inference, you can use this to describe your data, use it to explain the demographic information of your respondents and all of that. So there is more to descriptive analysis we're going to talk about how to interpret them and what each of it means in the next video, while we move to inferential statistics using SPSS. So if you would like to learn more about all of this, you can stick around on this channel. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can always get the latest video that is being uploaded. So